Welcome back to another edition of Talking Ball. Today, we've got a special episode for the Duke basketball fans out there. Dame Sarr has committed to the Duke Blue Devils, likely meaning Cedric Coward is going to stay in the draft, and Sarr will most likely take his spot in the starting lineup. Joining me today, as always, for Duke basketball related content, JD. What are your initial thoughts here with Sarr joining the Duke Brotherhood?
Well, first of all, young Buck, it's great to be back here talking Duke ball on May 22nd. I mean, how special is that? And there is a lot that we want to cover today. So glad to be back, glad to be there. So all I could say is they refer to him as Dame. May he only be one fraction of Damian Lillard.
All right. I don't. I would hope so too. From what I've seen, which is very little, very different player than Mr. Lillard. But certainly, if he has a career anywhere near Dame, if Dame is anywhere near Dame, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. Now, the little bit I do know that I can share with you guys, Sarr played for Barcelona. He spent a few years there. He got into some games this past season. The first few years he didn't play very much. This past season he played in about 30 games, getting more playing time in the league competition where he averaged about 6 points, 2 rebounds. Shot the three well, a little bit closer there, but 43% from three. He only shot 56% from the free throw line, so I gotta go through his shots because those two things give me make me question the 3-point shooting, right? Like if you're not hitting your free throws, how real is that 3-point shooting number? In the Nike Hoop Summit, which by the way, he got into some trouble with FC Barcelona for attending. They did not like that. He went by himself without their approval, which led to them and him maybe mutually, but we don't know what the inner workings were there, deciding to part ways a few weeks ago, which led Sarr on this pathway where he was looking at Kansas and Oregon and Illinois and ultimately commits to the Duke Blue Devils. Which brings me to an interesting point, JD. I don't know if you've noticed this. The number of international players, 18, 19, 20 years old, who instead of staying in Europe to make $50,000 a year are coming over because of NIL is staggering. I think almost every team has somebody, and Illinois is like the entirety of I forget what the Balkan region. There's just like 5 guys from countries over there. It's wild, and it's the new NIL age of college basketball where we've got all these international players. What do you think this means for the college game?
Well, I think it's a great infusion in a period of, another infusion in the period of the one and done. There's
Yes.
no question that NIL can lead to players potentially staying for a year or two. Depends on the dynamics. The guy we lost, which would have helped our preseason ranking, Cedric Coward, it looks like, yes, he's committed to Duke, but all signs are that late first round pick and would have liked him. The little that I've seen of our Dame, is that I don't know. I have this incredible fondness for Coach Shire. I don't know if this was a panic move. I don't know if having lost Cedric Coward, who he's been in touch with, all things are that they check in regularly, but then as Cedric's stock has been rising, um, Shire's been probably giving him the best advice and saying, if you can go pro, why not go do it? And I don't know. It's going to be interesting how Dame fits in with this team. I know that uh, you've mentioned to me before that we have Isaiah Evans, we have Darren Harris, we have Caleb Foster, and is he yet another of the same size, or how does he fit in? We just we're not the pros. We don't have tons of tape on him.
Not yet, but maybe we
We're
can
getting there.
we
We're
can get
getting there.
there. With Sarr, to me, he slots in to where Coward would have been in the starting lineup next to Evans. But to your point, there are some big differences. While Sarr has played professionally, he'll be 19, whereas
Didn't he play with Jabari Parker?
he did right on that Barcelona team. So a little bit of a Duke connection for Sarr.
Good
Good
connection
call.
there.
So he'll be 19, whereas Coward would be 22. And he's an older player, more experienced. When you look at, as of right now, the projected starting lineup that I think we, on the last episode, mutually agreed upon with Caden Boozer, Evans, at the time, Coward, Boozer, and Gangba. Now, you slot in Sarr for Coward, and all of a sudden, your most experienced players are sophomores in your starting lineup. Which, listen, that's tough. That's tough to win. Now, thankfully, the fifth year guys are gone. No more of that, as far as I know. Although I'm sure there will still be some of them, but there will be less this year. The COVID year is gone, so I think that helps. Um, we gotta see. Just we gotta see the tape. We gotta see how everyone fits in. But going back to what you were saying before in terms of, is this a panic move by Coach Shire? I don't view it that way. I think he's a highly talented player. I wish he was more experienced, but he has been playing professionally, which I think is pretty cool. And he brings that knowledge of playing against grown men with him to the college game. So he may be further along than a typical 19-year-old. And so I think it's a good move by Shire, because I think at this point in the offseason, talent-wise, it's almost impossible to replace a guy like Coward. So to get in a guy with maybe a similar level of talent, I think is a really good get by Shire.
I think I'm going to say it's a slight net negative.
That's fair.
Without knowing more, so I'll be fair to Dame that we kind of were excited about Cedric Coward being part of that starting lineup. And as you pointed out, when you went through it, we said, okay, we can go into the season with that. Kind of like it. Don't know where everyone else fits in. Just don't know enough yet, but it's May 22nd. So we
Plenty
don't
of
have to
time.
know it yet. No.
Plenty of time. All right. We will see you guys next time. Those are our thoughts on Dame Sarr. And as usual, we forgot to ask you guys to like, subscribe, let us know what you guys think, and share it with your basketball-loving friends. Until next time. Peace.
Wait. We have a lot more to talk about, young buck.
No,
We've
we're
got.
going to do it separately.
Oh, you want to do. Okay. So let's tease a little bit then. You want to do, we're going to try to keep this up once a week. So we'll do a segment on the draft and where we think our Duke players are winding up.